Three, two, one, ghost. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 321 Ghost. I'm your host with the silent G, as always, Kyle. And as always, joined by Natalie. Hey, Natalie, how are you?
So good. What's that?
Celebrating Valentine's Day.
Oh, do you
I've been,
celebrate Valentine's Day?
yeah, I think so. Like, not maybe to the extent I did when I was younger with girlfriends I've had or when I was dating my wife, before we got married. Like maybe it was a
Mhm.
little more intentional. Now it's like, oh, it's a smaller affair, but and then I don't know. Like how about you? How are you celebrating Valentine's Day? Or do you?
No, we don't really we say happy Valentine's Day, but we don't really acknowledge it. It's just kind of another day. Like you want a dinner reservation? Fuck you. You're not getting a reservation. Everybody's out to dinner. Like, you know, I eat chocolate all the time. I buy myself flowers all the time. My husband's
Yeah.
not particularly good at being romantic, so his version of a Valentine's Day gift, he's just like, "Hey, I finally hung up those lights that you asked me to hang 6 months ago. Happy Valentine's Day." And I'm like, "All right, I'll take it." So, yeah, we don't really yeah, it's not really a big thing for us. We're more of an anniversary and birthdays kind of crew, you know?
Yeah. I think now certainly, I've been married for 5 years now, even married, to your husband for longer. And yeah, definitely those are the ones that you kind of really celebrate. But
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I've been in a number of relationships and um I just feel like I've always just gotten flowers. It was something that was just kind of, I don't know, like some expectation that was just programmed into me very early on. And then
Hmm.
just now I like feel like, it's like I'm worried that like, I don't know, like what's gonna happen if I like don't? Like the first year I don't, is she gonna notice? Is she gonna, but I guess I could just like ask her, you
But like how
know?
much do you care about Valentine's Day? You have to do it though in a timely manner. Like you can't do it the day before because then it's like, oh shit, I forgot it was Valentine's Day and now I'm like trying to see how much you really care about it.
I think I just remember being so fucking thrown off the first year that my wife and I were dating. And and we've been dating for, like definitely a number of months because it was like end of July and then so like what the following February, right?
Hmm.
And I remember I showed up, to send my flowers or dinner reservation, like a cute little gift or whatever.
Cute, cute.
And she turns around, she's like, I have something for you. And this like beautiful wrapped gift. I think it was like she'd like knitted me like a blanket with my favorite baseball team logo on it,
That's adorable.
go Padres. But
I love that.
and I just remember being so like genuinely taken aback because I don't remember ever being gifted anything for Valentine's Day. Sorry if I don't remember.
Mm.
Maybe it's just been a long time ago. I
No, we're gonna
apologize.
send
But
that one to the research team for sure.
yeah. But I just remember just being so startled by it because I think I had just also kind of leaned so hard into that kind of old kind of gender, normative kind
Hmm.
of version of Valentine's Day that kind of shocked me out of it a little bit. It was just
That's
it was so
interesting.
sweet. It was so kind.
I've always thought it was like it's a two-way street, like everybody gets gifts. I've also always gifted like friends on Valentine's Day. Like I still do that. Like I'll gift like mostly like any like female friends. I'll give them something. But I mean, that's not to say that like we never celebrated Valentine's Day or that I'm a Valentine's Day hater. I love seeing everyone like all dressed up, going out on dates, carrying flowers. Like if people get sent things, that's always really fun. Like at work, if, a flower delivery person shows up, like everybody's like all excited. Um, except for maybe like someone who's like heartbroken or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love the vibe of Valentine's Day. And of course, any horror movie that is themed of any holiday. Like it could be any holiday, doesn't matter. I'd go for it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And of course, to folk that are single, Galentine's Day, to those who celebrate,
Yeah, Valentine's
Palentine's
Day's lit.
Day. I don't know if
Oh,
anyone says
that's cute.
Palentine's Day. It's a more of a gender neutral situation. So
I love
if they're not
Valentine's Day.
if they're not saying it, we we'll start it. Hashtag. Um,
Oh, did you make that up?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to Google it right now and see if it's a
I think we
thing.
should trademark that immediately.
Okay.
Thank goodness we
So,
record these in advance.
yeah.
This isn't live.
Um, hey everybody. So, speaking of which, I also love a good horror movie based around a holiday. Um, if y'all remember, I even mentioned the movie Holidays during, I think, like who are,
Mm,
kind of get to know us episode. Remember way back when,
yeah, yeah.
talking about anthology movies. That was with that great Easter Bunny one. Fucking so good.
Seth Green is in that,
Yeah, I know you're trying
if you
to
remember.
you are really trying to like bully me into publicly hating Seth Green, and I'm not going to do it. I do not cave to your fucking terror whims. I'm not going to do it. So
I've been known to bully.
So, hey everybody, we're talking about, but of all the of and there's a number of Valentine's Day movies too.
Hmm.
So, but for some reason we decided to land on Valentine 2001. Now this stars a number of 90s icons, stalwarts, right?
Love it.
You've got Marley Shelton, who we love, of course,
Hmm.
Deputy Judy, right?
Yes.
Um, you've got Katherine Heigl in your Drew Barrymore role a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
she's our Drew Barrymore like knockoff kill.
Fucking, of course, well, not everyone's favorite vampire hunk because you're more of a Spike person,
I
right?
am, but that's not to say that I don't fucking love David Boreanaz. Like we're gonna talk a lot about him. I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk a lot about him.
So, this movie is directed by Jamie Blanks. Do you know what else Jamie Blanks has directed?
No, I didn't peek. I had a feeling that you'd be prepared.
Well, he's got two 90s 2000 slashers. First
Ooh.
being Urban Legend.
I was gonna say, is Urban Legend one of them?
Yeah. So
Oh, yes.
now, spoiler alert, this movie does not come close to the heights of Urban Legend. That movie fucking kicks all sorts of
I'll
ass. I'll
I'll
defend it
admit
forever.
that. That's fair.
But at the same time, I saw like on the Wikipedia that like he's like since like apologized for this movie. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I
Like
can't make
apologized for the quality or the
yeah.
content or what?
Yeah, you just apologized and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, y'all. We tried our best." And I'm like, "Hey, I
Damn.
cannot I cannot make a movie better than Valentine. Absolutely
No.
the fuck not." So,
Um,
so don't be hard on yourself either, Jamie.
I don't think he should be. I mean, not to show my cards too soon, but like I know this is a flawed movie. There's just something about it. There's something about it that I fucking love. Like there's so many dumb things about this movie that make me just I was having a fucking great time. I was eating my fucking sandwich, just laughing, laughing eating a sandwich watching this.
What kind of sandwich?
Oh my God, it was the saddest sandwich. It was like just wheat
Oh,
bread with salami and cheese. That's it. How dare you ask me my sandwich?
that's no condiments.
Okay, there was also mayonnaise and mustard on it, like a very little bit. Like I only put a
Okay.
tiny bit because I don't fuck with sauce a lot of the
Yeah.
time. I've been cutting
Sounds
that
like
out.
one of those like a gas station sandwich.
I made it,
Hell
which is
yeah.
why it was so sad because I was like, do I really want to bust out the lettuce and the tomato? Like then you start getting into like different knife types and shit like that. So I wasn't down for it. I had to watch this movie in a timely manner. So the sandwich making was swift.
Yeah, it's hard where I get there are some points where I get so fucking lazy that I'll just like look at the tomatoes and be like, I don't know if I can cut a tomato
Do I
right now.
really need a
And
vegetable today?
you know, so like I'll throw some lettuce on there because yeah, come on, I'm not, I'm
Not an
civilized,
animal
please.
like
Yeah,
me.
Jesus. But I'm one of those people that has like four different types of mustard, you
Oh,
know.
I respect that.
I love a good mustard and hot sauce
Yeah.
situation, So, but yeah, so we're talking about the 2001 slasher Valentine, and very sad sandwiches. Do you remember seeing this movie when it first came out?
Yeah, actually, I think I saw this in the theater, because obviously, if y'all haven't figured this out yet from previous episodes, obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So anything that David Boreanaz was in, Sarah Michelle Gellar was in, like I was there. Like you had my money at the door. So yeah, I did see this in the theater. And I think that what I would have been like 14. So
Yeah.
that's like it's a good age for this movie. And you know, I loved already so many people in the cast too.
At this point, we are what, season 4, 5 of Buffy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Angel probably exists at this
Mm-hmm.
point, right?
Yeah.
Um, with me continuing to talk about Buffy that I know so little about. Thank you.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to start by saying I love David Boreanaz. And the reason why I'm making that very clear up front is because I do have a lot of shit to talk on him for this movie, like a lot. He is better suited for television. Like everything I've seen him on TV with, great job. He didn't really like, I don't think he actually really broke the seal of being in films. I can't think of any successful films he's been in. Am I forgetting something?
No, I don't think so. But I
Because
mean,
he was
I
in
don't,
Bones. He did Bones for a while. Angel was a while. So, I mean,
but they weren't putting anyone outside of Sarah Michelle Gellar in movies. I'm just trying to
Allison
remember a
Hannigan.
movie. Oh, right, with those
Yeah, she had the American Pie movies.
that's it. You know,
Hmm.
what a career for her,
Yeah.
right?
She was
Like
also
going
in How I Met
from,
Your Mother forever.
well, that whole second part, like that ends up being by far the most lucrative
Yeah.
career move for her, right?
Hmm.
Like
For
that's what's
sure.
making her
Yeah.
millions in residuals for the
Yeah.
rest of
Oh,
her life.
yeah.
Once that shit gets into syndication and it's just on reruns constantly,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm. Good for her.
yeah, good for her. I
We
don't
love
know.
her.
Industry legend Allison Hannigan.
Yeah, we love her.
I don't even watch How I Met Your Mother, and
I don't either.
I
I
don't think I'd
never
enjoy
will.
it,
Mm-mm.
but fucking get that bag, get that, cash
Yes.
those checks.
This felt like it was very much like, okay, when we were talking about Jennifer's body and how it was not properly marketed to like a female audience, this movie felt like at that age like it was made for me because it was like this female cast that I like knew and recognized from other things. David Boreanaz, who like he's gonna put asses in seats of like Buffy fans, so and Angel fans. So, you know, it felt like it was marketed towards a horror loving teen, which was me, like a horror loving teen girl. Like I was like, this is perfect. Of course, these female characters are extremely, we'll say, interesting. They each have some interesting quirks about them that, you know, this is written by a man and a woman, by the way. So,
It's like
very
four different
interesting.
people, I
It's four
think.
different people, but there were two main writers. I think there were people who did like rewrites.
Okay.
I went ham on this. I before we started recording, I told Kyle I bought this movie on Amazon like 6 months ago and watched it, not having it on the schedule at all. Like I was just like, fuck it, let's watch Valentine. Then I went and bought the Scream Factory Blu-ray. Keeping in mind, I don't have a Scream Factory Blu-ray of any of my favorite movies. So I just randomly decided to get this one and watched a bunch of special features. So I've got all the knowledge.
It does have a very cool cover.
It has
I
a
like
very
that.
cool cover. Yeah, look that shit up. I like it.
They do an urban legend one, and then
That'd be fun.
a Cherry Falls one, which I've never seen. Have you?
Me either. It's
With
on my
Brittany
list of
Murphy?
things I want to watch. I love Brittany Murphy. Oh,
Me too.
R.I.P. I love
Yeah.
her. Yeah, I would
Um,
watch it. That'd be fun.
yeah, dang. I think might need to throw that on our schedule in the
Hmm.
next couple months.
Yeah.
This movie, I was like, like scrolling through the Wikipedia for it. The reception of this movie is poor.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it's like 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, something like that.
I didn't even
That's
look at Rotten Tomatoes after I saw on IMDb it had a 4.9 and like IMDb is pretty steady. Like everything we talk about seems to be like a 6.
mhm.
So when I saw that 4.9, I was like, oh, that's low for IMDb.
Not the most unfair assessment. I don't think. But given its challenges, this movie does have things working for it though.
Yeah.
Absolutely though. So I will not discredit that.
For you, is the Cupid mask one of the things that works or doesn't work? I'm so like, I literally put that at the top of my notes because I'm dying to know because I feel like there's so many slashers. Like, we have seen so many slashers. Not all of them have a very distinct mask, but it's rare that I find a mask that works for me. And I want to hear if this mask works for you.
I'm going to lean yes. It's, I mean, it's thematic fitting in with it. Like I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
shocked that I mean, the killer from My Bloody Valentine's like dressed like a miner, right?
Yeah.
Not like a child, but someone that like works in a mine,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I
so
didn't even
just
think of it that way.
to
A minor.
clarify everybody, but so and that makes absolutely no sense. I mean, it does in the context of this. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, we'll talk. Well,
Next
next
year,
year,
y'all,
y'all. Next year.
because and then from then on, I don't know. We're going to run out of Valentine's movies. I don't know, but and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It works for me. I mean, of course, like, the rest of the costume is very boring. It's just like
Hmm.
just all black clothes, right? And the
It's
coat
this
or
like that
whatever.
very
And
like distinct coat, and I wonder if that was just a
yeah,
way to kind of make the body of the person like boxy. So you're like, they could have breasts or not. They could be, more of a man's build or a woman's build, but I don't think there was any point where I thought it was any of these women, just by the shoulder span alone. I didn't like the Cupid mask for a long time, but in my last couple watches of this, I've seen this movie a lot. I liked it more, and I think it's because like it looks like a doll face, which is already kind of creepy in itself, but it's those dead eyes, like just those little holes, like on the eyes that, like, if you look at it long enough, I think I paused the movie and I came back and it was just a shot of the face. And I was like, oh, that is kind of creepy. So when I looked at it that way, I was like, okay, if that came after me in the night, I'd be pretty fucking scared.
and then they kind of do that same thing again in what's that one where it's like a slasher Groundhog Day?
Happy Death Day is the first
Yeah,
one. Then there's Happy Death Day to You. Yeah.
right. And right, because isn't that one wearing like a baby mask? So it's like very
Oh, that
similar.
one I hate. Ugh, I hate the baby mask. Why would that be their mascot?
I don't know. That makes no
College.
sense.
Yeah.
But I think that's as good a segue as any to this opening because they're at this dance. Now this takes place in
Ugh.
1988, and at I'm assuming a Valentine's dance. No, it says specifically that it is. I think it is.
It
It's
it
because all
ha
the red
yeah, it
lights,
is.
you
It
know,
is.
and there's one of the random kids is wearing that mask.
Was it not their school mascot, or was it just some fucking kid just being like, you know what? It's a Valentine's Day dance. I'm gonna dress up as Cupid.
I think so because they're just like
Okay, well, I hate that kid.
when they're beating the shit out of Jeremy Melton, this kid just with the
Hmm.
mask just kind of sticks his head in, and I'm just like, wait, hold on. So who's I don't know. It's just is this an extra red herring? Is it like an extra like, you know, did Dorothy see that mask and be like, oh yeah, let's do that. They'll remember that. I mean, the fuck these women even barely remember the dance even happening. Like, let
Okay,
alone
I'm actually kind of worried, really worried for these young women and their memories because they're like 22 or 23 and they're like, "What? Middle school? I don't remember anything from middle school." You're like, "I'm sorry, what? It's been fucking 10 years, girls. Like, how much drugs and drinking have you done that your memory is just completely wiped of fucking 8th grade? Like, what's going
yeah,
on?"
it's pretty hilarious how wild they like just shrug things off.
I could tell you a bunch of first and last names of kids that I went to middle school with that I haven't thought about in maybe 20 years, but like I could for sure go over like a roster of kids that I knew.
Like, I don't think that someone in a mask is gonna come, try and find me and like murder me and my friends or anything. I don't think I've got any outstanding grudges like that.
God, I hope
But
not. I feel like I would be in that on that murder
but
list.
what I will tell you is that I feel like now just the older I get, I remember I don't remember much of high school, but I will remember every time I did something that was just shitty and like
Oh yeah,
selfish and
we
like
all do.
awful. And that
Yeah.
shit just, the anxiety of that just crushes me still. And I
Hmm.
think a lot of people just spend too much time thinking about how, you know, things they regret when they were young and
Hmm.
stupid and full of hormones and just awful. Not that that
Hmm.
explains everything away, right? But like, and then it just, and you do not sympathize with these women at all when they
Oh
just
my
are like
gosh.
so well, first early on, it shows I appreciate Jeremy shooting his shot, just going from
Oh
girl to
my
girl, being
God.
like,
You know what?
that's swag. What do you what?
Absolutely. I feel like poor Jeremy like was just trying to get somebody to dance with him. Like
Yeah,
he
having a
was
good
being
time.
sweet, just trying to have a good time at this dance. He went by himself. Like that's not an easy thing to do, especially in middle school. Are you kidding? Like even in high school, that's an easier thing to do.
Yeah.
So, shout out to him before all the murdering. I feel for Jeremy Milton. And also, like, I had been asked to dance, like at a middle school dance by a boy that I did not have any interest in dancing with. And I wasn't like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, I was just like, oh, no, thanks. Like, I'm hanging out with my friends. Like, just like being polite. And I'm not saying you can't say fuck you if someone asks you to dance, but, like being kind to people is nice. Not bullying people is a good thing to do. But one thing I really like about this opening scene, they did such a good job casting the younger versions of all of these actresses, especially Denise
Denise
Richards.
Richards. Yeah.
That little girl looks like they could actually be the same person. So the only person they miscast for sure is David Boreanaz. Like I would for obvious reasons. Like his younger self is not great.
I'm just gonna jump right to the end real
Jump
quick
into it. Yeah.
before we pop back. Okay, is it actually supposed to be him?
Yeah, he's Jeremy Melton.
This movie's so fucking dumb. Oh
Wait,
my
you
God.
didn't
Well,
catch that, Kyle?
because
He's Jeremy Melton. He did all the murdering.
hold on. Is
I'm
Dorothy
dying right
not
now.
not the
Dorothy's
killer?
not the killer.
What the fuck?
The
She's wearing
nosebleed, Kyle. The nosebleed.
that, okay. But I mean, yes, I get it. But also,
Do you want me to walk you through this now, or do you want to go through the movie first and then we'll get back should we start from the end? It might,
just answer this question for me really quick.
yeah, yeah.
Does she not admit to killing people, Dorothy?
She does not. So, okay, we're at this dance. This is
Oh,
this is gonna
Jesus.
tie together. We're at this dance, and Jeremy asks Dorothy to dance, and she's like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." But then they end up making out under the bleachers.
Yeah.
Those bully boys catch them and make fun of her and him simultaneously. And she's like, he attacked me. She falsely accused him. He went to boarding school or reform school or whatever it was.
Mhm.
So he returns the favor to her. So what happens is he's posing as Adam, but really he's Jeremy Milton. He says, I've always loved you to Kate at the end. The nosebleed from the mask the whole time. He has that nosebleed at the end, and he puts Dorothy in the outfit, and that's why he's like pat 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 as soon as she sits up. I think he attacked her. You see her room all messy. Put the outfit on her. She's like disoriented, gets up. He like pushed her down the stairs, and that's it. And now everyone thinks she's the killer, so he falsely accused her. Revenge. I am so shocked that you didn't catch this.
It's because this movie's so fucking dumb. It's, oh my God. So okay, here, all right, we'll get there. We'll circle back. So
Okay. Okay.
we flash forward 13 years. Is it 13 just because he wants to be extra spooky?
I hope so.
Oh my God, I have so many notes, like from the perspective that Dorothy's the killer. This is great. Okay.
That's why I
So
was like, we need to clear this up in the beginning so that you feel like you can walk through this. This is going to be
yeah.
really exciting, everyone.
Oh my gosh. But but Dorothy, like, the same thing. Like I know,
Dorothy's a fucking mess. Don't get me wrong. She's no saint.
but the logic, I understand jumping into like just getting into the logic of like a middle schooler who's already insecure, is already like being
Mm-hmm.
called like shit like Buffalo and whatever, and just
Mm-hmm.
like how just like that internalized like shame and all that shit, like how she
Mm-hmm.
would, I get how she would throw Jeremy under the bus so quickly.
I
I
mean,
get it, even though it's like, yeah, awful and is a learning lesson, right? But
yes and no. Like, does she think that accusing him is going to make her be bullied less? Like,
I don't think it's worried about like, oh, they're gonna stop bullying me. It's just like I just feel like they're gonna bully me even more. So let me
mm-hmm.
just keep it back to what I'm
What I
used to.
know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's
So
true. Yeah. Yeah, kids are mean, y'all. Like middle school's the worst. I think
yeah.
like people talk a bunch of shit on high school, but I think middle school is probably like the worst time. You wouldn't have been able to pull that shit off now. Like bullying, it is they're like zero tolerance, at least in San Diego. Like you will get fucking kicked out of school if you're caught bullying. Like they make parents sign, we sign a contract at the beginning of every year that says that we will like teach our children not to be bullies, to be kind to others, and if they're caught bullying, like they can be kicked out of school. It's serious and like necessary. But yeah, like that I ask my son all the time, I'm like, are there bullies at your school? And he's like, not really. He's like, the worst thing that happens is that like somebody will take all the soccer balls at recess. Like, and that's that. And I'm like, great. I love that for you.
They're 8-year-olds. How many soccer balls can you hold at once?
I know. That's why I was like, also, like, how many do you need? Like, you only need one to play a game of soccer. Yeah, those kids are assholes. I don't know who they are, but fuck off with all the soccer balls.
So we fast forward 13 years to Katherine Heigl, who is on a date
Oh
with a
my
man
God,
named Jason.
Jason. Jason.
I'm just in slasher mode. So as soon as he says, I didn't realize he was talking in the third person at first. At first, he's like, Jason's into, these types of girls and this type of girls and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, is he talking about Jason Voorhees? I guess when I think of Jason and pursuing women, I just think my
No
mind
wonder,
immediately goes to Friday the 13th.
no wonder why, Kyle, you have this like there's reasons to have harsh critiques of this movie, but like you were watching a completely different movie than I was.
I am just picking up on things that I saw with my own eyes. Um, and first of all, like, is it a turn on for someone to talk in the third person like that?
Oh yeah. No, absolutely not.
I think the only
The
person that
Rock.
can get away with that is The Rock,
I knew
right?
it.
And you'd still
It's
be like,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I might have sex with him still.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, that is not sexy. And I'll be honest, I've never gone on a date with someone who spoke about themselves in the third person, but the first time you did it, the date would be over. I'd be done. I don't like when people do that at all. So I like there's my zero tolerance policy.
I feel like a lot of the men in this movie
Oh, they're so
all just
bad.
they all just like have like a bit that they just refuse to not
Yeah.
like commit to, you know. It's our
Hmm.
fate, Kate. Go on a date, Kate. And you're just
Yeah.
like,
No,
why?
every man is so terrible. So you like, yeah, like the neighbor that rhymes, Jason, who speaks about himself in the third person, even like David Boreanaz's character is supposed to be like the best guy in the movie. And like he's like making a joke about her neighbor being a stalker and stealing her panties. I'd be like, I'm about to roll up to that apartment building and have a chat with him. Like, uh, no, like we're not joking
He
around about that guy. It's
he,
yeah,
he
they're all
yeah.
terrible.
Oh boy. And
They're all terrible.
so and Katherine Heigl sees right through it pretty quickly. It's just like, hey, you
Yeah.
know what? Let's get the fucking check. Um I need to go back to my morgue
Yeah. My after
and
date corpse cutting.
Yeah. Like, was she always planning on doing that afterwards? Do you think, like, even if the date went really well and they did get
She did
dessert,
say
you
she
know?
had to study for a test, and apparently it was true because when she runs into her fellow student, he's like, "Good luck tomorrow." So her story lines up.
Why even schedule a date for the night before like a final?
Oh, Kyle, we're old, so we don't do more than one thing in a night. When you're like in your early 20s, like you'll stack events in one day. Like you might wake up, have brunch, then have lunch, then have a date, then have a study date, go home and do something or watch a movie, and then wake up and do your final.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting. I'm lucky. Well, I'm
Yeah,
lucky if I do something in a week. And honestly, it's
that's
recording
it.
this podcast. That's my
Yeah, this is
my
our
day,
plans.
one thing a week. So she's like, "Hey, I gotta get back," and she starts flirting with this corpse, Chad.
In the
Um,
dark. She's just doing this in the dark with one spotlight.
yeah. Did she like change? Is her like dressing like, or was she
Yeah.
wearing all that underneath? How could she get there? I don't know.
Yeah. I love her shitty car too. She's got that like really shitty car, which is fun because I'm like, oh yeah, she's a college student. Like, she's got
Yeah.
her little hoopty.
How do you feel about dudes splitting the check on a first date?
Oh, I think that's fine. I
Maybe not the way this dude was doing it, but
no, not the way he was doing it. Like he's like, you had the chicken, like, like item by item. I've split checks on dates before, and I did a lot of first dates because like I have a very low tolerance for people in general. But the one thing I don't like is if as a woman, if you offer to pay and they're like rude about insisting to pay, like absolutely not. Like I would never let a woman pay on a date. Like if they're just like, no, let me get it. Like that's fine. But yeah, that's the only thing I am not a fan of. But yeah. Okay, this is me getting really technical. Like if you chose the place and it's an expensive place, you should pay the check, whether you're the whatever gender you are, who whatever your role is in this relationship. Like I think it's important that if you chose an expensive restaurant, that's your version, you're offering to pay. You don't bring somebody
yeah,
to like a five-star restaurant and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're treating."
that tracks. Yeah,
Yeah.
that checks out. Um, so after the her classmate, I guess, takes off, and honestly, he seemed like the nicest guy in the entire
Yeah, they
movie.
were like flirting, right? Like they
Yeah.
had they had the best chemistry out of any couple in this movie, honestly.
I think just because he just wasn't just like consistently just like fucking aggravating like
Yes.
everybody else is in this movie.
Yes.
And I do appreciate how cartoonishly aggravating all the dudes are. I do
Yeah.
like that.
I'm
I've
assuming they like ramped it up to like really, make a point and also to make David Boreanaz's character look a little better because he still is very flawed, but he at least is like affectionate towards his partner. He's got his own issues. He's, dealing with addiction and, trying to get his shit together and but I mean, overall, he seems like an all right guy, other than the murdering, which Kyle didn't even know was going on.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's very artistic and very, crafty. Because Katherine
Yeah,
Heigl finds a very beautiful bedazzled
I love
card.
those cards. I would be
Oh my God.
thrilled.
Right? No kidding. And like just imagine like just all the like each of the like the little jewels and gems and
Yeah,
shit that were glued on there and like
yeah.
coming up with the rhymes or like the fucking Riddler or something,
Hmm.
I like it. But one thing I missed from previous watches is that, and it's only I think with this card where he says, something, something, you bleed from your neck. So he
Hmm.
was always intending to slash her throat, right? Like
Absolutely.
I think my favorite kill in like a hospital-y, morgue-y kind of situation is probably that Jason X one, you know? So I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
like if you see like some other
You're talking
opportunity to
about the
kill
face
somebody,
freeze?
yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorites of all time.
I just imagine if I was David Boreanaz and I was coming in being like, okay, I did commit this slitting her throat, but oh, I could freeze her face.
I could
I
freeze your
mean,
face.
And no one's gonna know. And who is holding me accountable but myself, right? Like to this poem. So
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like the card, but also like now if I receive that card like from like I knew it was from someone. Like if my husband gave me that card, I wouldn't think he was going to murder me. I'd be like, "Oh, he knows I love like creepy horror things and he got me something that's like morbid and weird." And I would think it was sweet. But if it was like a random person that had left it like on my locker, I'd be out of that building. Absolutely not. Like I wouldn't stick around to go and finish cutting up my corpse.
That poor corpse, poor Chad. Um,
I know.
one, I think it's pretty funny, this whole bit.
Oh, it's so dumb.
And then two, pretty bold because
Yeah.
you're exposing, so the killer is has replaced himself with Chad, the corpse, and put
Yeah.
Chad in the closet. And like, do you think if you're when you're donating your body to science, do you think how many bodies get involved in hijinks like this?
I mean, after Reanimator,
Is there some
like
like legally thing that just kind of like releases all liability kind of situation? I don't know what's in the fine print, but I feel like if I do, like, and I'll have to put that in my will, is when I do donate my body to science. I am an organ donor, but I don't know.
mhm.
I need to put something, some conditional something in there, but like,
Like an
you know,
asterisk on the back of your driver's license that says
no slasher hijinks. I don't want to be used in a,
no.
because I have nothing to do with
Well,
this.
no
Poor
one's going to be able to use Chad's body for anything else after this. So what a waste. Like what a waste of his corpse, honestly.
Yeah. So, and then also lying down on the table where Chad was, and then
Hmm.
exposing your midriff,
Yeah,
just a
a little
little bit,
belly. Just a
just
little
a little
belly.
belly, right? I didn't check the belly enough to see it.
It looks like a man's belly. Like it's not hairy, but David Boreanaz he's waxed. That is a smooth chest, everyone. I have seen many a photo. Um yeah, so it looks like a man's stomach, but I don't think they give you too long of a view of it because the fact that it breathes is kind of like throws you off a bit. But yeah, I think that was a risky move and way too much work. Like we could have just came up behind her and just slit her throat.
Easy.
Yeah. But that being said, I do really like the body bag situation where he's just going and stabbing each body bag. Like what did she think was going to happen hiding in a body bag?
I get where she would think that might be clever, but I think just now, anyone just who's seen a horror movie, and if you're a slasher and you're chasing somebody and you walk into that situation, you're like, okay, I know what we're doing. It's like when you walk into, a room of like mannequins,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
or I think most recently in Thanksgiving, it's like when the killer walks into a
Hmm.
classroom all with like modeling heads, for their barber salon class. I don't know.
You love those
But
heads.
but then again with these, you know, cadaver hijinks, where's the body that she took out and
Oh
put
my God.
herself into this
Yeah.
bag? Where's that body? Because when you look in, you see all those body bags are full.
Whoever's in charge of that
If it-
morgue is going to be furious, just
yeah,
infuriated. They're like, great, there goes my fucking weekend. I'm going to be doing paperwork all the live long day.
but then I guess I wondered too, like how many like I don't know if they do like frats in med school exactly like that, but just like how many kind of dickhead med school kids like pull pranks with each other's corpses. You know what I mean? Like someone would hide them in a in a closet
That
or weekend at Bernie's one. I'm just saying that
honestly,
there's
that
a
would be fun.
non-zero chance that that's probably
Yeah.
happened before.
Yeah.
So, um, but hey, just as the poem laid out, like pretty
Yeah.
quickly, he was just like, "Oh, there she is," slit her throat real
Hmm.
quick. Um,
I do.
gosh,
So this is funny because I have this in my notes and now I'm looking at my notes and thinking how like from your perspective like what were you thinking? So so when you see this Cupid after they murder someone, there's that excessive nosebleed like from the one nostril. And like that is your like the whole sole reason. Like I even put, I was like, is that a character trait just for the reveal? It totally is, because that nosebleed is what ties the killer to David Boreanaz slash Jeremy Milton slash Adam. But I like the nosebleed. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a cute touch, but I guess I was thinking that not only that David Boreanaz was a red herring, but just Jonathan, the idea of
Yeah.
Jonathan Melton himself was a red herring because it was really, in my mind, it was Dorothy.
Oh, so you thought she was like making Jeremy Milton the red herring, but like, but she received a card too.
Yeah, so doesn't matter.
She's gonna send herself a fucking card for nothing when no one's there. Like you do it in front of the group.
So you can say you're building your evidence. I also have a card, and you want to prove
Okay.
it, right? You want to cover
Okay.
your tracks.
Okay. That's fair.
So I get it. Um, yeah, so then I mean, we can just go some beats before we get to the next kill, but we're introducing a few people. You do that whole speed dating bit, and
Yeah,
even though
for those of you who this is here's my like time capsule lesson again. Speed dating. This this was really big, I feel like in the early 2000s. Where basically you go to a bar and you sit at a table and you have like 30 seconds till it's like 30 seconds or to like a minute or something to chat someone up. So you like give them your sales pitch basically of what type of person you are, and then you swap to another person at the next table. And I think if you find a match, you just leave the situation. I could be wrong about that, but because every movie depicts it as a failed experience. Like it's very rare that these go well.
yeah, I'd say that yeah,
Well,
I
Paige
think
finds
you're
Brian. So
and it isn't just Brian. There's one of the other guys from the speed dating, if not a couple people from the speed dating that all end up at that party at the end.
really,
Yeah, it isn't just
they're
Brian. I
probably
mean,
just the
I know
same
the whole thing with
extras.
Brian and Paige, but the guy that was like really, really quiet, and like kind of weird.
He was at the party.
Yeah, you see him like wandering around in the background. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, who called him? I mean, there was plenty of people unannounced that just show up to this party, but
Yeah, yeah. They do some like character building with the two with Paige and yeah, and Kate, because they're kind of showing you like she's in this like relationship that's kind of on and off again because of, like, his alcoholism, and that's been a reoccurring issue. And then you have Paige who's very, just like out to have a good time, like just, chatting people up, not really feeling committal. I Spoiler alert, everyone. Paige is a fucking muse. I just love her. Love, love, love her. I love how like mean she is and just how like unapologetically sexy she is. Like she's just I love Denise Richards and everything.
dang, I'm so sorry because she is the absolute worst
I
actor
love
in this
her.
movie. She
Really?
is,
I disagree. I
yes,
think it's David Boreanaz.
you would think, but and it sucks because I like her in other things,
Hmm.
but she just had this like one just cadence with her voice the whole fucking time that
Yeah,
was
it's not
just
how she normally speaks,
it's
right?
irritating to me.
Oh, I love her. I love her.
Fun
I'll
death.
as we go through, I'll tell you why.
So they go to this funeral, and this is I
Mm.
think what Dorothy calls them. And
Yeah.
you got your friend group, which is Kate, Paige, Dorothy, Lily, and then Shelley, who was played by
Hmm.
Katherine Heigl. See, I'm usually so bad with names, so I'm
No,
I'm
good
pretty proud
job.
of myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so
friend group might be a loose term for Shelly because they said they hadn't seen her in like a year or two. Maybe she
right,
just lives
yeah,
far away. I don't know.
yeah, maybe she was just the one, even though she seemed to be the nicest one out of the four or out of the five.
Yeah, I mean, from a glimpse, I
So maybe
guess.
that's what it was. They were just
Yeah.
like, you're not vibing with our fucking mean girl squad. So I don't know.
I love it.
Oh gosh. So and then you have this whole like other thing. Okay, so you introduce David Boreanaz.
Hmm.
He's just hanging out, not knowing how to process things. He's trying to get back together with Kate. And then I'm trying not to, I don't want to go beat for beat, but as we're
Yeah.
introducing
But
the
you also
characters,
introduced the detective, Detective Vaughn.
introduce the yeah, it was the dad from Veronica Mars. Um he was also
What?
in
No, is that the same actor?
yeah,
No way.
I forget his name off the top of my head, but yeah,
That is not the same actor.
dang,
I
they
knew
look
that wasn't
similar then, don't
him. They
they?
do look similar. They do look similar. But yeah, I was like, that's not him.
Whatever, close enough. Um and so you have this you're introducing everybody. I think then you learn about Campbell.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Just
God,
when
he's the worst.
he's the worst. And I
He's
feel like
worse
I've
than the
seen,
actual like murderer, honestly.
at least it was a revenge situation
Yeah.
with Adam slash
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think Campbell's just being, awful and just robbing, just doing fucking what's it called? What's her face from Debbie from Adam's Family Values, maybe a little
Yeah.
nicer than Debbie because he's not killing them. But
Yeah. But not
yeah,
as not as fun as Debbie.
this whole thing just makes it just even sadder for Dorothy when she's not the
I
killer
know.
because oh my God, like, but then at the
No,
same time,
she's
like,
just really sad. She's just really like she has a lot of trauma. Like that poor girl.
but then also she's terrible to Millie, the maid. Rest in peace.
Mm.
Fucking justice for Millie.
I know. Why does she get murdered? There's a lot of people that killed in this movie that I'm like, why did we kill them? Are we trying to help these girls or like hurt them?
Unless the whole point was, yeah, just to frame it to make it look like because Dorothy
That is
would
the whole
have a
point.
motive to kill them,
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
or not a
True.
actual motive, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, this movie. But so and then this whole thing with the stepmom,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the stepmom is the same age or younger than her, and then she's like calling her a mail order bride.
casual
And
racism, yeah.
like I'm like, why is that even in there? Like what did that add to the movie at all? We didn't even need to see Dorothy's dad, like at all. So I
Other
guess it's
than to
just to show,
establish,
go ahead.
I said just to establish that she's rich and lives in this very big mansion.
I mean, we didn't need to have that to show that she's rich. Like that's very apparent. And she's like rich, rich. Like that party, when you have a Valentine's Day party and it's catered like a fucking wedding, you're rich, rich. Like, one, who's having Valentine's Day parties? And two, if you are having a Valentine's Day party, like, I'd be like, hey, I got champagne and chocolate covered strawberries and a Bluetooth speaker. There's my Valentine's Day party.
Oh yeah.
And Valentine on
Um,
Blu-ray.
yes. And the special edition too,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
yeah. So we establish all of this for no reason. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know, the Campbell thing, you didn't, I don't know. It's so unnecessary. But then you pop back over to Kate's apartment and she gets her first little kind of warning spook, where she's,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the water gets turned off. How quickly would you resort to putting your head in a toilet?
Okay. No one needed to put their head in the toilet. There is
Yeah.
clean water in the back of the toilet, Kate. You just open that lid. That water has not touched your fucking feces bowl.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? I honestly, I would rinse my hair with like, I don't know. They keep drinking orange juice in this movie. I would rinse it with orange juice before I would put my head in the fucking toilet. Absolutely not.
That was to wash out the maggot taste,
Yeah.
right?
But
Um,
yeah, ugh, yeah. So I would not be putting my head in that toilet. Or I would just leave the conditioner in and just slick my hair back. Fuck it. Like, who
yeah.
cares? It's not going in the toilet.
Then we get our second letter, which
Mm.
either to Paige or Lily. they kind of argue back and forth
Mm-hmm.
over who gets it.
I think it's
And
for both of them, honestly.
yeah.
Two for one.
And then this one was, I forget what the poem was on this one. Do you?
I don't have the poem on that one. I only have Dorothy's because I it's the most inaccurate.
Yeah. So, um, and then it's all these chocolates. And then I don't know, just I just wouldn't eat food just left in front of my door from a stranger. Right? Like I get that they're
Yeah,
not really connecting the killing or the killing of Shelley to
it would
them yet.
still
I get
it
it.
would need to be handed to me by a delivery person. Like so that I know that like like if you got like if somebody sent you like an edible arrangement, like you're like, "Oh, this is a person who works for edible arrangements that's handing me this
Yeah.
food, not just like left by my door." That'd be kind of weird. Yeah.
It's pretty impressive to, again, David Boreanaz is very crafty with all the beads and the jewels and
Mhm.
um, the lace situation. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And then also quite the chocolatier, because the only way you could get those maggots in there like
I
that
used to
would
make
be
those chocolates.
you need to be making this caramel, you need to be
Mhm.
stretching it out, getting it done, then you need to put
Mhm.
the maggots inside. This, I'm assuming this is how it's done. I have not read a recipe for this, but
For maggot
then
chocolates.
for maggot chocolates, and then I would assume, you refrigerate them for a little bit,
Well,
for
the
at least an hour or
timing needs
two.
to be perfect because those maggots aren't going to last long.
Well, I mean, you put them in the fridge, just maybe just slow them down a little bit. I don't know if that like if it works like it does for ants, and then you bring them out, and then you have to put the coat of chocolate on it, and then put it back in the fridge again to make the chocolate solid. Gosh, and then hope that the maggots don't eat their way out of the chocolates. But I think if you got a good, nice, like warm caramel
Mm.
situation, you probably just want to be like, hey, this is dark, this is
I mean, if
tasty. I'm just gonna
yeah,
hang
if
out
I
in
were in
here.
that, yeah, I'd be like, I'm
Yeah,
cozy up in this caramel.
yeah, fuck yeah. So pretty impressive then for her to tell. She takes
Yeah.
a bite and then realizes they're inside, right? That's
It's
pretty
pretty
rough.
gross.
Oh
Yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty gross.
they're so gross. Oh, it's the grossest.
I mean, I'm glad
Yeah.
she only like she got probably the least, well, maybe not the least gruesome, but she got like shot with the arrows and like because that the maggot eating like that's rough. Like, ugh, no,
Oh
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, between that and the arrows, maybe she does get it the worst because it's a rough death. Not the roughest at all,
Mm-mm,
but
mm-mm.
um geez. So and then we jump, it's pretty quick actually. Yeah, the next scene is at this art show. Can you believe this
Mm.
fucking art show? This is like
I
so.
love this art show. Like I love too that they're just calling him like a bad artist, which, art is subjective, but I don't disagree with that.
I
Like
think you can be objective here. I think it's literally just like, yeah, a bunch of TVs of like mouths, and it's like made into a maze, which you
like
can change
love
and
me.
alter. Yeah. And
The
there's some
creepiest
videos of just
voices.
women just taking their tops off. There's a few
Hmm.
of those, and then that's literally it. Like
So
that's
there's
and
a
then the Marilyn Manson playing, of course, on the
yeah, there's a
speakers.
deleted scene where they're all like having a cheers to their dead friend and they talk about Max and why he's a shitty artist and also just like they said they were like, "Well, Lily, you took off your top and rubbed eggs on them and let him take photos because he said it was art." And she's like, "It was." And like that's a very like again like is another like shitty guy that's like, no, 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 it's art. Like, if you take off your top and let me like photograph you, like, trying to take advantage by saying it's art. But yeah, they deleted that scene, which is great because it's a long scene and it didn't need to be in the movie. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. I feel like I knew a couple people that were like throughout the years that were like artists, and it was just like a lot of like their friends topless, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay,
I know
there
who
seems to
I know who
be.
you're thinking of. We won't put anyone on blast, but
So I'm like, okay, but and then also remember how he's like, okay, everybody, this must be a fucking huge maze, by the
yeah,
way,
he
because
separated the women and the men.
and then why?
Yeah, what was different? Was there like a different? set of videos for them.
And it because it doesn't, I don't,
It
yeah,
doesn't
I
like
don't
it
know.
doesn't do anything in the end. I also really enjoy them making out like in the exhibit because clearly he didn't go to the men's side that he was supposed to. And then like the what is her name? Amy shows up and is just like
Uh,
unbuttoning her top. And she's like, what the fuck is happening? Like he's just like, oh, we were just gonna have a threesome right here in the middle of my art exhibit.
yeah, well, I forget what she calls him. It's just like, oh, I didn't know you were such a hypocritical sleaze bag. And I'm just like, I don't think he was hypocritical at all. I feel like, if anything,
That
he's been
really
very
fit the
consistent.
vibe. Yeah, that
Yeah.
fit his vibe. Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I thought that was good. I appreciate that this movie has like everyone's killed in a different way. Like it's not just all stabbing and slashing. Like I like the Cupid's arrow situation.
The kills that might be my favorite part of this movie because
Yeah,
not that they're
I
the
agree.
goriest, not that they're the most inventive ever, but they're all kind of just different
Yeah.
enough and kind of fun in a way. But I think if I could trade that off, I would have been like, maybe there should be more of an arrow situation here because it's the most
Yeah.
thematic,
More
right?
arrows.
And I like that it's not, every because it's always knives and axes and
Mm-hmm.
shit,
Mm-hmm.
So I that'd be my thing because I did like that, and then also I guess turns out this building is like they just don't do nothing to establish that this building's like 20 stories high because all of a sudden she's like now just falling into a pit that
Yeah,
just has a
it's deep.
garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like that she just falls in the trash can. They're like, that takes care of itself.
Do you imagine if you lived in one of those lofts and like you just,
Yeah.
I know there's trash chutes, but like I would just walk out and be like, all right, I'm just gonna fucking just drop it all the way down. And so she's dead. But everyone thinks that she's going to LA the morning after. So it's not like anyone
Mm-hmm.
realizes that she's missing until,
Which
gosh, I
I
want to
thought was
say
actually
much later.
kind of lame. I wish they would have known because then it's like, oh, we know somebody is like picking us off instead of them just like
Yeah.
focusing on just Shelley's murder. Like it seemed weird that they did that. I thought that was not the best choice.
These women, so I think, and
Yeah, do
so
we
I
want to
guess it
like
must,
talk about like each girl, each woman in this movie, like and their personalities before we talk about them getting murdered? Like all the deaths.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe we break them down a little bit.
I
Um,
mean, of course, you've got Kate, who is you know, our assumed final girl.
hmm There's not really much to her.
No, not really. I like Marley Shelton,
Yeah.
and you definitely know that she was the one that wasn't going to get murdered because she is also the only one that
hmm
wasn't awful to him at the
hmm
dance. She
Yep.
was the only one that was like, maybe later, just hey, when in doubt, just punt it,
Yeah,
and just
exactly.
say, oh, maybe later and disappear. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, I
he'll get
agree.
the hint, but also it's much nicer than
Do you think her and David Boreanaz had any chemistry?
no, their interactions are so bad. It's
So awkward. Like, I
yeah,
almost feel like they fucking hate each other. And even then, actually, I think if they hated each other, they would have had better sexual tension. But like, the only time I think that they actually have chemistry on screen is at the end when she's scared of him. Like, then I
yeah.
actually think that it plays better than when they're supposed to be a happy couple or like a back and forth couple. Like, they aren't selling it to me at all, especially David Boreanaz. Like, he's not into it. I've seen the look of love in his eyes when he looks at Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like it feels real. That did it did not feel the same at all.
It's because that love was authentic and that was real. Yeah, geez. I yeah, that their flirting was very cringy to watch, I think. Just
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to necessarily, yeah, I guess blame the both of them. They're just, I like them in other things. Hey, you know
This
what? Maybe
isn't,
the
yeah, this is
editing
not
didn't
their
the
movie.
script, they didn't bring their A game. That's okay. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, everyone's trying. I think, I hope, I assume. Um, I feel like we've already talked a little bit about Paige
Mm-hmm.
and me not being a fan of her either. I would spoiler, I'm not a fan of anybody in this movie.
I think Paige is the only one
Maybe
that
Lilith.
Yeah, Lily's fine too. She's not around long enough for us to like really dislike her. I think I just like Paige because she kind of reminds me a little bit of myself in some ways after you said you hated her. Um I like for instance the situation with Brian. Um one,
Have you
I'm
done that
not
to somebody?
no, but
Oh,
like no,
that's
but
assault, Natalie.
I I would not do that to someone. But what I do like about that situation and what reminds me of myself in that situation, well, okay, what doesn't is really Paige, like he says he has a surprise for you in the bedroom upstairs. Like, you're not that fucking dumb. Obviously, it's his penis.
It's gonna be
Like,
a dick.
it's gonna be a dick. If a man says they have a surprise for you and they're entering a bedroom, men are the worst. It's definitely their dick. And especially like they're not dating, like they're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Like he's not gonna be like, oh, champagne and roses. Like, no, it's my dick.
Now, where I do think it falls back on him is like, yes, it is going to be a dick, no matter what. Right. 10 out of 10. Um, but I do think it's on him that if you are going to use that setup, at least put a bow on it. At least,
Just
bedazzle it a
something.
little bit
Something. Yeah.
to make it like a surprise. Like it's not just my dick.
It's a
Like it is still a
Valentine's dick.
yeah, it's still a surprise. Like look how fun. Look at this fun thing I did with it,
I
you
put
know?
a bow on it.
Yeah. So,
But what I like
yes,
is
and
her reaction because she immediately is just like, you the surprise is your penis? Like, and then she's like, fuck you when he says, like I've never heard anyone say I want you to wax it. I've never heard that expression. I don't know if you have. Um, but I like how she like turns it around and like just basically like, goes into like being sassy, making him think he's gonna get what he wants. Like I've definitely fucked with dudes that like thought they were gonna get some and like just like was like, yeah, fuck off. I didn't assault them. But it goes back to our conversation that we had at House of Wax. Um, dripping some candles right on the dick. I mean, obviously he wasn't expecting it or into it. So that's a different situation.
yeah, not nearly as bad as what happened to poor fucking what's his name? Uh
Oh, Wade.
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 Yeah. I still want to say
Oh,
Dwight.
poor Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like Paige. And then Dorothy. Oh, Dorothy. Dorothy is a character that like I want to feel bad for, and I do in a lot of ways, but at the same time, she's rich as fuck, so good on her. And then this Campbell situation, like it is clear as day that this man is taking advantage of you. And like Dorothy's a very attractive woman. Like everyone who, I mean, if they're going to be like fat shaming and fat phobic, everyone who meets her doesn't know her as that if they're that fat phobic. Like they're going to meet her as this current thin woman, like new men. I'm like, she's not like it. What's going on here? That like they're like comparing, like she's like comparing herself so much. But I'm like, fuck off with Campbell. Number one, he's not that hot. Um,
Mm.
and number two, he's obviously not giving good dick. Like if you're gonna be with this guy who's totally taking advantage of you, like he better be delivering good dick. Like what? Come on, Dorothy.
I
Dorothy's
know
my
that was
least favorite. I fucking hate her.
well, and you don't get any time to really sympathize with her that much because
Mm-mm.
she's,
Mm-mm.
being shitty to the maid and being,
Yeah. She's
awful to
even
other
shitty
people.
to
It's
her
like,
friends at the party. Like when Campbell doesn't show up, she's like, "Well, fuck
yeah.
this party." Like just being mean to Kate, who's trying to like be like, "It's okay, he'll show." Like she's like, "I know when I'm being dumped." Like, yeah, she's terrible.
Was it supposed to be a Valentine's party or just a
Mhm.
party?
No, it was a Valentine's party. There was like Cupid and shit hanging from the rafters and heart-shaped balloon arrangements. Come on.
Man, I was pretty checked out by that point, to be honest. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, fuck Dorothy. I don't like any of these women, but I do like. I'd say Lily is at least like kind of entertaining. I think she is the best actress out of all of them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I've seen her in other things and I can't think of what, but she's
Legally
fun.
Blonde. That's what I remember her from.
Yes. Yeah, she's so good in Legally Blonde. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who's the next kill?
The next kill is the creepy neighbor. Now just to back up real quick, when this whole Jeremy Milton situation, it's just wild. This conversation, this must have been between getting the chocolates in the art scene because Lily's still alive. She's, rinsing out her mouth with the
Hmm.
orange juice, and her and Paige are trying to figure out like because this one at least says JM, right? And they're
Yeah,
trying to figure
yeah,
out
it's signed.
who is JM, and they're like, oh,
Hmm.
is it this person, this person, this person? Um, and they even mention, Paige brings up Jeremy Milton,
Hmm.
and then, of course, Louis like, fucking who? Because none of
Yeah.
them ever remember any of this. And then they're like, oh, yeah, no, this guy. Remember? We were so just fucking terrible to him, and this, and this, and this, and
Yeah.
this.
And they continue
And,
to make fun of him. And
well,
they
yeah, and continue to make fun of him. And then they're just like, nah, couldn't
it couldn't
be.
be him. Yeah.
Nah, whatever. And then just
Yeah.
even, I know later, because it was like Jason, not Jason Markey, he's a baseball player, but another
Jason
JM, like
Marquette.
Jason Marquette. Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
see, I was close. Um, when the detective's like, "Are you really like, are you all fucking with me right now? Like, you all
Yeah.
got fucking cards, fucking
Yeah.
signed JM, and you know that I'm looking for someone with those initials who was
And you
last
didn't
seen
say
before your
anything?
friend's fucking murder." And they're
Yeah.
like, "No, I don't know." It's just like
We
so,
thought
like
it was
even
a
like
joke.
honestly, up until just the very end of this movie, by this point everyone's dead. I'm like, they're all just so fucking stupid. I can't
Yeah. Oh yeah.
actively trying
They're
to
very
just
dumb.
out dumb each other.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this very frustrating. And I think the only reason I sympathize with any of them is because you see them having to constantly suffer through interactions with even shittier dudes.
Yeah. Like
And
they're
and,
not the
and
best representation of of women in horror, but like the dudes in this movie are so much fucking worse. Like so much worse. The neighbor is literally breaking into her apartment and sniffing her underwear while she's not home. That's fucking creepy as shit. He deserved it. He deserved to get killed. Also, huge clue that he gets killed right after her conversation with Adam at the bar about the creepy neighbor.
the only note I have about that conversation at the bar is, how she orders a Corona and he orders a club soda, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, maybe I'll get one too." I'm like, if I was that bartender, and I have bartended before, I'm like, are y'all gonna fucking take up space in my bar?
Yeah.
Fucking getting
Ordering club
club sodas?
sodas. Yeah,
Like,
get the fuck
you know,
out.
like y'all know I'm gonna charge you for this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so
Absolutely
get
should.
get the fuck out of here. But yeah, it happens right afterwards. And of course, it's like we are saying, like David Boreanaz is like just constantly just discounting. I mean, I guess now it all makes sense because he's the killer. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like just constantly discounting like everything she's saying.
Yeah.
Even when
He's
she's
a
like,
terrible
"No,
boyfriend.
my underwear
Murdering
is
aside.
missing." Yeah,
Yeah.
and I couldn't tell if yeah, I wasn't sure at first that the neighbor broke into her apartment or if he had brought the underwear back and they just have, I mean, apartments have similar floor plans,
Oh,
um
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't
but
think about that.
he I guess my one issue with this and just being, is I don't know. I just think that's it's the movie probably wasn't intending it. I'm not sure, but it just gets into this that weird kind of gray problematic area where it's like you come in and you see him and he's trying on her underwear,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm ill, and this and this and this." And I don't like the idea of crossing those wires of like being like
Doesn't he say
ill
something? I think
and
he's even
thieving
more,
and
I think he's
also wearing like, other gender assigned clothing. You know what I mean?
he's even more blatant about it too, because doesn't he say like, haven't you ever like wanted to get in touch with I just like to get in touch with my feminine side or something?
I don't remember
Doesn't
exactly, but I
I
think
feel
that
like he
also makes
says
it,
no, that's what I'm saying. I think that like they actually like take it a step further and he says that.
I think it makes it
Um
worse.
yeah, like it feels very of 2001 that he would be saying those things and doing those things and then just not really thinking about like what that might imply. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought of him as just a total like just predator, um, like slash stalker of Kate, specifically.
And I don't know if this is basic of me. I'm sorry, but if you're getting like an iron death, I want to see like a singed, like imprint of an iron on
I
the
want to hear a
body.
sizzle.
I need some
Like I want to hear
sizzle.
some flesh sizzle. Yeah, like
Yeah.
we didn't even have to like see where it was sizzling. Like I just want to hear it. Like that would have
Yeah.
been enough for me. Yeah, especially because he's such a fucking creep. I would have liked to see more. I agree.
So I mean, if that's the case, then David Boreanaz is like, unless he was already planning on being there and found the neighbor. Um,
Hmm.
but and it's like, oh, then he is being supportive. It's like, oh, maybe I'm discounting you now, but don't worry, I'm gonna go take care of this fucker. I'm gonna
Well,
murder the shit out of
now,
him.
now that I'm thinking about it, that's actually really smart to do that. Because if he was like went into like protective, like boyfriend mode, then it's like there's your motive to murder him. But if he's just laughing it off and being like, it's not a big deal, he's harmless, and then goes and murders him, like you'd be like, oh, my boyfriend didn't even give a shit. Like he definitely didn't murder him. So, well played. Well played, David slash Jeremy slash Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also I enjoy the detective because I think he's also um good representation of a man in a position of power who thinks that is attractive and going to get him somewhere. And like Paige is in a position where she's like, I can be very particular here because everybody wants to fuck me and I don't want to fuck everybody. Like, so when he, was talking to her and he puts his hands on her thigh, I think the shittiest thing is when Paige comes back to Kate's apartment and she's like, yeah, he's a total creep. He put his hand on my thigh. And her response is, did you ask him to? He, what?
There is no solidarity in this movie. Um,
No.
because I also think of more Dorothy Campbell stuff, and of course it makes it and then Campbell will die shortly, but you also got introduced back in this at this art show to this like other woman, right? With the pearls,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
dies in the shower. Also great death.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, how much just a slight change of tone instead of coming in hot being like, oh,
Yeah.
you just must be some side hussy bitch and this and this and this.
Yeah.
You come and say like, hey, hold on, like
This guy fucking robbed me.
this guy robbed me.
He's a scam
Like
artist.
I will help you.
Mhm.
You can come to the police with me. We can do
Yeah.
this and this and this. Like instead of just like she just goes
Robbing.
after
Then she's just
him.
like robbing the watch. Like, yeah, she's shitty too. Yeah, everyone in this movie is an asshole.
Yeah, I'm like, why is it so awful to each other when they don't have to be? So, and I
Yeah.
don't know. That's why I struggle with, you know, in the when I was reading through the Wikipedia for it under like the reception, of course, yeah, I know the bad, reviews and the Rotten Tomato score and all of this, but there was like he was like, but however, some horror website wrote this like retrospective, like, we need to be kinder to Valentine or this and this and this and this.
I
I did
agree.
not I did not get a chance to read that because it was a dead link to a domain that doesn't exist anymore. So um goodbye for that. But I did try to
Oh
find the
no.
article online and if this long Reddit post about the just this movie got a bad shake because of its, feminist message. And I was like, look, as a male, I am not going to define what that looks like.
What the
And
feminist message is.
but
They're the most toxic friends. Ugh. The only time I felt like there was like a real friendship where they would be kind of like catty toward each other is when Paige takes off her coat at the funeral. And Lily goes, Jesus, Paige, it's a funeral. Like, absolutely 100%. I would totally say that to one of my friends. Like, if they were wearing that corseted top, like to a funeral, like, I'd be like, okay, fucking put the girls away. Like, like that felt real that felt like the most real
Uh-huh.
part of their friendship to me in this entire film. I also really enjoy. So then you have Max comes back towards the end and he's hitting on Kate. When he says, you're really at home in this outfit. And she's like trying to figure out if her friend has been murdered. She's like, just give me the information that I need. And he's just like really enjoying her in this dress.
Well,
Like,
that's what I like about the I think it's pretty funny just the men in this movie, and it's like consistent with all of them is that I feel like you only have their attention for like 15 seconds at best, and to talk about like the plot and what's
yeah.
like the murders that are happening,
Mm-hmm.
even the detective, you only get his
Mm-hmm.
attention before he starts asking about your boyfriends, right?
Yep.
Because he's, and asking Paige to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
And and that was like a perfect scenario of like
Yeah.
going to fucking Max, and Max like, yeah, yeah, okay. And then you just see him just like his eyes drop and he just loses his attention so quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
but
I'm glad that you brought that up because one, I didn't even like piece that together because there's all such dicks the whole time.
yeah.
But it's a very real thing. Like you could literally be having a conversation about anything. And the one I think I get the most, which is my absolute favorite because it's the worst, is like you'll be mid-sentence and they'll be like, what are you? You Dominican? You Puerto Rican? You Costa Rican? What? Like they'll like start like listing off like islands. Like, and I'm like,
All the islands they
you
know, but
Brazilian. Yeah, they're just like going over all these like islands, and I'm
how
just
did you
like,
know by your seventh guess?
yeah, but also like I'm like, wait, we were talking about something completely different, and you're just like, did you hear anything that I said? That's a thing for
Oh,
sure.
geez.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
so
funny when you see it in a movie like this because I enjoy seeing it happen to these girls. Because one, I mean, it's not real. But two, like these guys are like an exaggerated version, like, of common guys, and they do exist for sure. But
well, in your story, you have, I mean, you have that racial component too, right? Where
oh
like
yeah, that's the
everyone's just
even
trying,
more
you're not
frustrating
white.
part.
Let me
Yeah.
guess where you're from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if nobody tries to guess where I'm from by looking
Yeah.
at me, right?
What
So
are you,
it's
Irish, Scottish?
nobody does that. And it's like, I don't know, my beard just comes out orange. So yeah, it's one of those. Um, so before we get to the party, we do get Campbell's death. We find out that he's
Mm.
absolutely a gold digger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did
So
we
trying
doubt
to
it for even a second? He's
never.
talking about his internet investment.
I know. Again, these what I love about these late 90s, early 2000s is the internet was just such a vague thing.
Yeah.
Um,
It could be anything, really.
he's got his internet investment. I'm like,
His
that's on you
internet
for believing
investment
that's a thing.
meeting. He
Yeah,
had a meeting.
I
Yeah.
love it.
But okay, what was the deal before he dies? What was the deal with them in bed? Like, could he not get it up or did he come too quickly? Like, what happened there? What do you think happened?
I think he couldn't get it up. And I wasn't
That's
sure
terrible.
if that was like a choice of he just can't get it up and then like that's just a thing, which I mean,
Or he's just not attracted to her. Like, he just
yeah.
wants her money. But I'm like, dude, if you're going to scam people, again, you need to be able to fuck. Like, that's what's going to keep you in that house longer. If he couldn't fuck, I'd be like, you need to go take your internet investment somewhere else, pal. Like, get the fuck out of here. Come on.
So I do feel a little bad for her then, especially like, you know, getting out of the shower. She's like, all right, hey, well, are you ready now? Like trying to give it like another go. And, and
It's like,
he's like,
no, I have this
no.
stolen necklace.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause otherwise I was like, how did she not question like how he got that necklace so quickly? I mean, he already
Hmm.
had it on him, I guess, because he stole it, right?
Yeah.
But when he was like, "Oh, I don't have anything for you," you know, but then they go to bed,
How
try to have sex, and
embarrassing.
then while she's showering, he's like, "I'm back. Oh, guess what? Here you go. I have a necklace."
Because he
Yeah.
realized he was like, oh shit, that necklace I stole.
Yeah,
That
it's a
deserves
val
Valentine's
it's
Day.
this random Valentine Cupid
Yeah,
necklace that
everyone has a Cupid necklace. Come on, Kyle.
yeah. And then they clearly established that that other woman was like, I don't know. I feel like if you're a pearls person, you're a pearls person, you know? So I could not see her wearing that Cupid necklace.
No, no, she
Right.
wears those pearls every day.
And then Campbell gets his death via axe,
Yeah, his
which
reaction's pretty good when he gets hit by the axe in the back.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I
Yeah. I forget what that axe was even doing down there. But
think the killer just had it
yeah,
handy, you know?
right. Gosh.
Yeah. So peace out,
So
Campbell.
right. So we pop back over to this party. You'd mentioned the page scene with what's his face with the hot wax on
Brian.
the dick.
Hmm.
Yeah. Again, you know,
Yeah.
if you're gonna
Fuck Brian.
like just let it be kind of a surprise. Like we know it's gonna be a dick. So
Yeah.
come on.
Like
Right.
just some element of surprise.
And then our next death, we get a few deaths. You know, well, we get a couple deaths here at the party where you
Hmm.
have I don't even know the name of this woman that was conned by Campbell. Do you know? It's probably in there.
Mm-mm.
I just put Prissy Pearl woman. Um, so her death
She has the
is
longest chase scene.
I know, I'm just like, why
She's
dedicate
not a
to this?
character.
I know it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, just because she sees the maid get killed, which also like, what did she do to deserve this? She should have been off for the night, first of all. Come back and clean that shit up in the morning.
I
Like,
know, fucking justice for Millie, because Millie was fucking
yeah, that was
she
fucked.
didn't want to take any fucking Dorothy's bullshit, you know?
Yeah,
And
Dorothy's
then
the
now she
worst.
has to, yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
So, I do like the, yeah, smash through the shower and
Oh
then
yeah.
using the whatever, the
Hmm.
shards on the bottom
Oh
still
yeah,
sticking
right
up.
through her, like, what do you call this? Like behind your jaw, like right, not your throat,
Your
but
gullet.
ooh, yeah.
I don't know.
And I also like how she's like saying no, like the way she's like, no, 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 because she knows what's coming. And I'm just like,
I
oh
know.
yeah, yeah, that fucking sucks, girl. But you should have been up, you shouldn't have been in that house. Should have been more
Yeah.
supportive of Dorothy and like told her what was going on. It's a shame.
Yeah. So we're all figuring everything out. Um, so I feel like even so, I think Kate is like finally starting to like have things dawn on her, you
Like,
know, like just barely. But then it all gets kind of derailed when she sees David Boreanaz just in the back hallway, just pounding down
oh
fucking
yeah, he's just going to
champagne
town.
glasses, and
Yeah.
he's
And
just
his drunk acting is so bad. And I
it's
will
so bad.
say his drunk acting is just as bad on Angel. As there is an episode where he's drunk and he just, David Boreanaz, like, I hope it's improved, but your drunk acting is not the best.
Is he drunk off alcohol? How do you get drunk if you drink blood?
No, you can get drunk as a vampire in Buffy.
In Buffy, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
that vampires can drink alcohol and get drunk.
Oh, do they eat like food?
They can, yeah. Doesn't make them sick or anything. They can enjoy food.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang. Okay, that's a pretty good
No, they've
situation.
got a pretty good life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good
And you
immortal
can turn
life.
from your regular face to your scrunchy vampire face like real
Mm-hmm.
quick like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, it's great.
that's pretty good. Um, so yeah, his drunk acting is really bad, and
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
There's also a line that Marley Shelton says where she says he's no angel. He's no
Oh,
angel, but he's
really?
not a killer. Yeah, I was like, that's a fun little tip of the hat.
That one right over my head. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what confused me so much because I was just so confused on whether or not he was actually the killer because you go back and forth a couple times here, and
He is.
I thought it was just his drunk acting is so bad that it like also comes off as like a murder confession, and like it makes no sense why he's even drunk, like acting the way he is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was so I don't know, also confusing. But we do have our Well, I mean, second to last death with Paige.
which is a
Um,
fun one.
that's a fun one. When you see a hot tub death, you
Mm.
think, well, I don't think drowning. I think like let's turn the heat up on this situation.
That's yeah, I think like
Get a stew
let's
going.
yeah, let's boil some bitches. That's definitely what I think of when I see a hot tub. But I think they get pretty creative with this because you've got the cover of the hot tub, you've got the drill. I love the idea of her like running out of air and like so the drill holes like she would go to them to like try to breathe, but then that is
Yeah.
just gonna give like a target. Like it's a pretty good death, and I like that would be fucking terrifying. Like that is scary.
Yeah.
So I think her death is definitely like one of the best, or I think it is the best. Also, that hot tub room, can we talk about that for a moment? Did you feel like raptors were gonna come out of those bushes?
Yeah.
Like, like it was just gonna start like rustling. No one can see my hand motions of the palm trees moving, and then like fucking a velociraptor was just gonna come out.
Oh, yeah. It's
That's
like
that's
fucking
what
like
I that's what I thought was
Muldoon or
gonna
some
happen.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny, I was watching this movie with my wife, and as Denise Richards was like getting drilled, and then she she was like, "Yeah, I mean, this is cool and all, but like, I'd like to just see her get like, he should just like toss something in and electrocute her or something." And then immediately, that's what he does.
And then he does. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh, she
And
had
then
never
enough,
seen it. How fun.
yeah. And then allegedly, that's enough to shut down the power to the entire house.
Yet this mansion doesn't have a
Yeah,
fucking generator or anything like that would kick in.
but I do agree. I think Paige's death is the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, because well, in the
Well, the
second going to the woman with the glass through the jaw or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
So
that's a good one.
yeah,
The detective gets killed off screen.
off screen and
Mm-hmm.
decapitated. So I assume it was probably
Mm-hmm.
that axe. Maybe. I
Yeah, yeah.
don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
Got him on the way in. Didn't even make it into the house, presumably.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then you have this weird, like, again, like I thought it was like this like fake out where you're supposed to think it was David Duchovny. I wish. I fucking
Oh,
wish.
industry legend, David
Yeah.
Duchovny.
Um, David Boreanaz like is doing this, she's or when Kate's like, "It's you," and he goes,
Hmm.
"Yeah, it's me." You know,
Yeah.
yes, like I thought it was him not understanding what she was implying, and him just being drunk, being like, "Yeah, it's me," like not in the sense of like, "Oh, it's me, I'm the killer" kind of situation. And
I
then he starts like, and I know he like asks to dance with her, but again, I thought this was all like just
because
him
he's
being
Jeremy
drunk.
Melton. He wants to dance. This is the other thing. So my what how I interpreted that whole thing is this is a good like control tactic because he's making himself seem suspicious. I mean, he is actually suspicious, but he wants to seem suspicious so that she gets scared and accuses him and acts out. Because then at the end, she's apologizing to him. Like she's saying, "I'm so sorry, like that I acted that way." And like that's a fucking control, like mind fuck right there. That's what he's doing. He's like literally just like gaslighting her of the truth, but then she thinks that it's Dorothy. And that's why she's like, this doesn't make sense. Like she seems so happy. Like, and he's like, well, you never know what's going on inside a person's head. He's literally speaking about himself. Like, I still can't believe that you did not like put this together, Kyle. I'm just, is flabbergasted the right word?
Yeah, that's a good one. That'll work.
Yeah. So that I think
I
that's what he's doing.
because she's running from him, he's chasing her down the stairs, but he's still he's like saying like, "Oh, it's me," but then he's like also, I don't know, like I
I
don't
mean,
know,
also
there's
maybe he also is actually drunk. So like maybe he's not even sure like how this plan is gonna go. Like he's just kind of winging it. But what it
I
looked like,
guess.
okay, here's how I think it played out. So David Boreanaz goes up into Dorothy's room, which you could see there was like a big scuffle, as Debbie Salt would say. There's a big scuffle, and you could see the lamps are all like knocked down. So I think he like knocked out Dorothy, put the outfit on her. Then when Marley Shelton is walking up the stairs, she Dorothy suddenly appears in this outfit and falls. So she's either like still woozy or gets pushed because we don't know where David Boreanaz is at this point. She falls down the stairs and is knocked the fuck out again. And that's when they're like sitting next to each other. Of course, she gets up like fucking Michael Myers, just in one like whoop, like right up. And David Boreanaz conveniently shoots her as soon as she sits up before she can say or do anything. And now Dorothy's your killer, even though she is not. And she even says, I love you. And he says, I've always loved you. Like, it's very incriminating. And then that nosebleed that just drips on her fucking face that she didn't even notice. She was
Mm,
like, must be raining. You'd notice a big fucking drop of blood on your face, girl.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that's how I envisioned it playing out, like
Yeah, that checks
behind the
out. That's
scenes.
that all of that makes perfect sense when you're saying that. I think yeah, again, maybe I was
Does it
just
make
checked
you
out
like
by
the
that point.
movie any better?
No, actually, I think it makes me like it less. Again, and maybe this is reminds me of urban legend where like why center Kate's character as like the one, you're saving for last or I
Hmm.
mean like wanting to stay with her, like
I think he just wants to be with her and not with her shitty friends.
yeah.
But he had
Mm,
to get like years of trust for her to go through like a traumatic experience and then still like be with him. Like if I was dating a guy for 2 weeks and all my friends got murdered, I'd be like, maybe we should revisit this later.
yeah. Yeah, it's usually the boyfriend.
But he saved the day.
Mm,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay. Well, that
Oh, there's
I,
also there's a deleted scene. This is so wild and it feels like a completely different movie. So I'm gonna go tell you this deleted scene. It's short, but it's fun.
uh-huh.
So the deleted scene is before the dance, presumably, or it's a flashback of Jeremy Milton. And his mom, and I'm assuming her boyfriend from like the conversation that happens, are like fucking hard, like moaning loudly. In that situation, I would not open the door if I, knew my mom was like having sex behind the door. Jeremy Milton just pushes his way in and he's like, "Hey mom, I need a ride to the Valentine's Day dance." And she's like, "Can't you see I'm busy?" And the boyfriend is like, "Yeah, get out of here, you fucking pervert." And that's the scene. And I was like, I think they're just trying to give you more context into like his terrible like upbringing when really I'm like, okay, like mom needed to get some. You should have minded your business and walked
Yeah.
your ass to the dance. But also it like I'm glad they took it out because it didn't need to be there, but it doesn't that feel like it would be in like a much like I don't know, just like a Rob Zombie movie or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 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 right. Just reminds me that his Halloween remakes
Yeah, yeah,
a little bit.
exactly. So I thought that was really funny because they're trying to give you like more context on his like background, but I'm like, no, the bullying is enough. Like the fucking bullying like
And being
is
sent to reform school and all of
yeah,
that,
like being like accused of attacking this girl when really like it was completely consensual that they were just making out under the bleachers. Like that's shitty. Um so yeah, I thought that that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like portraying a woman lying about being
Lying. I
assaulted
know.
because I
I
don't like
know.
that setting that
Also,
example
she
because
should have
it's not.
told the detective that too. Like, listen, I was fucking 12. I didn't want to get made fun of. I said this. Like, she still doesn't even tell the detective, and people are getting murdered.
And the whole thing is like I'm watching this movie being like that makes sense because like I don't know, is trying to she's trying to dispense the information how she wants to. That's why she was the one that always had to like nudge people along and encourage people about the whole Melton thing was to create that red herring.
How
I
many
think the
times
movie
have
would
you
be way,
seen how many times have you seen this movie?
geez, I guess not enough, but the movie would have been way smarter if
You
I
think
don't
Dorothy
not
should have been the killer?
I think so, or at least both, like in tandem kind of situation.
I I
They're
love
both
that
victims
it's
in their own
Jeremy
way, even
Milton.
though, yeah,
And also that that kid grew up to be David Boreanaz.
I guess so. That does take us to the end of our movie. Anything else you want to add?
About the movie,
Yeah,
you know what's funny? There are a lot of industry legends in this movie, but I don't know if this is the movie to give them that award for because normally I would have thrown one out for Marley Shelton. I would have thrown one out for Denise Richards. I would have thrown one out for David Boreanaz. But honestly, this is not their best acting. Like, I've seen
no.
all three of them act to perfection. So it's really disappointing that they're not better in this. Maybe their hearts weren't in it. They were like, this isn't Scream. No one's gonna think it's Scream. Whatever. It's a paycheck. But I love
Denise
a lot of people in
Richards,
this.
Denise Richards' last character's last name. Do you know
Mm,
it?
mm-mm.
Her name is fucking Paige Prescott. Like at this point, they weren't. This is like 5 years after Scream. At this point, like they're not even caring anymore.
That's so
It's
funny.
it's pretty bad. Um,
Yeah. So
only to be topped by what's her face? Gail Prescott from It's a Wonderful Knife.
yeah, yeah,
That's
Gail
awful.
Prescott.
Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's the only other thing I have to say about this movie. Admittedly, I think this movie has a lot of really like fun things about it. I watch it every couple years. I'll just like pop it on in the background and just kind of watch it just for fun. Um, I mean, honestly, any movie that has Denise Richards in it from like 1990 to like 2005, like she's just incredible to look at. Like in this movie she's just gosh, so gorgeous. Even though her acting is not the best in this one, but every time she does that eyebrow raise, I fucking love it. I love that stupid eyebrow raise that she does as a response to everything everyone says.
Mm,
They could be like, this is good mac and cheese, and she'd just be like, eyebrow.
yeah, she does have a good eyebrow situation.
Yeah.
So let me just quick walk through. I'll be real quick on the 2001 Teen Choice Awards, just to give you
Of
all a window
course.
into that.
Of course.
So you have Valentine that was nominated for three different categories. One
Oh,
being choice horror thriller,
okay.
and choice movie your parents didn't want you to see.
What were the other nominees for that?
Well, okay. So Valentine did not win. The winner
Okay.
was Scary Movie 2.
Mm,
Choice your
that's a good
movie your
one.
parents didn't want you to see. Now the other nominations were Hannibal,
Oh, okay.
um, Tomcats, starring our boy Jerry O'Connell,
Oh, I love that one.
Bridget Jones's Diary.
Oh, I wouldn't put that in that category, but
What happens in that movie that you like your parents don't want you to see? Is it just like an
okay, you know what?
adult humor?
That movie does not age well with how Bridget Jones like talks about herself and her weight. Like she's literally like talking about being overweight and how she needs to lose weight. She's like 130 pounds. Like
And
fucking weird.
bring you right back into 2001, Swordfish.
I don't even remember that. What is that?
Had Wolverine and John Travolta and Don Cheadle and Halle Berry.
I've never seen that or
Sure,
heard of
yeah.
it.
And then Freddy Got Fingered, which yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious to see how that movie holds up.
Probably not great.
Probably not, but I think it was like almost kind of future proofing itself by just being is just I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Valentine though did not win, and I don't know why the yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think the only thing that I don't know. It makes doesn't make sense to me. And then so it was nominated for choice horror movie, didn't win. That
Hmm.
was yeah, basically just horror as a genre did not win in 2001 because you have Jesus, do you remember Antitrust with Ryan Felipe. Felipe?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
So I'll just read this off really quick. So
Okay.
the choice horror thriller. So you get thriller in there too. So that's probably how. So you get Valentine, The Gift, Hannibal, Antitrust, The Cell with Jennifer Lopez. You ever see that one?
Mm-hmm. I
The
like the cell.
Watcher and Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
I
And
secretly like
our
that movie.
oh Jesus, it's so bad. And our winner, Urban Legends Final Cut. Shut the fuck up. Who was watching that fucking movie? Nobody was. Though the woman
What?
that plays Lily is in both Urban Legends Final Cut, the
Oh,
sequel to Urban Legend, directed by the guy that
wow.
also directed Valentine. So that's kind of there you go. There's a fun situation. And then David Boreanaz lost the Choice of Award for Choice Sleaze Bag. Do you remember
Oh,
this one? I think I brought up this category
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Um,
Who else was the choice, or who won Choice Sleaze Bag?
brought him up already once today. Dwayne Johnson for the Mummy and his eyebrow raise for the Mummy Returns. We all raised our eyebrows when he won that award, and because he's only in the movie for like
Two
20
minutes?
seconds, and then
Yeah.
like the awful,
Oh God,
bad
that
CG
CGI.
scorpion
Like that's
situation
like
thing
the
at the end.
most like famous bad like computer graphics moment ever.
And then the dude who was like a real piece of shit, sexist, awful guy and Legally Blonde, who should have won.
Mm, mm-hmm. He should have
But
won, yeah.
so there you go. There's our just fucking peek into 2001. I mean, I don't know. I don't need to go over any of these others. But I did see there were some good ones in here. Choice Breakout, Performance, Choice
Do
Fight,
these awards still
and
exist? Do they still
Choice.
do the Teen Choice Awards?
No, I don't think so.
Hmm.
Choice Actress was Julia Stiles for Save the Last Dance. That tracks.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dang, beating out this is okay. I'm sorry. This is pretty good. Where Julia Stiles beat out Kirsten Dunst for Bring It On and Sandra
Oh
Bullock
no.
for Miss Congeniality and Rachel Leigh
No.
Cook for Josie and the Pussycats.
No. All three of those are
Right?
better. All three of
I
those are better.
know. So, and also, yeah, so okay.
Damn.
That's only half of them. But I do, come on, let's show Julia Stiles some love. She's
No,
she's
oh, we love
fantastic.
Julia Stiles here, industry legend.
Orphan
But
2 is so fucking good. She's
yeah, we
incredible.
we might need to talk about that one day.
Yeah.
I
That's all
love
I
that
got.
movie. Wow. Okay. 2000, yeah, I don't remember 2001 being a great year for horror. I can't think of anything else that came out that's like in my favorites. But what this movie does not bring in its acting ability, it does bring taglines.
Good.
Now, right now, number two for the most taglines is Friday the 13th with 13. Scream had 14. This movie has 16.
Jesus. Okay, we're just gonna have
I
to run
didn't,
through.
I didn't think, I did not think there could be more. I will say half of them are fucking perfection. The other half are terrible. Rapid fire. You want to
Yeah.
give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll vocalize it too for our listeners.
Yeah, please do. I thought that was implied. Okay. Love hurts.
That's thumbs up.
I give it a thumbs up. Remember that kid everyone ignored on Valentine's Day? He remembers you.
Mm, 3/4 of the way up.
Oh, I like that one. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Falling in love has never hurt so bad. Sounds like a
Thumbs up.
romantic comedy.
Thumbs up though. I think that's pretty fun.
Okay. I'll give it a thumbs up. This February, hearts don't just break, they get even. I'm gonna give it a
Mm,
thumbs down.
yeah, thumbs down.
Hmm. Scared to be alone on Valentine's Day? You should be. That was fucking good.
Man, that one cuts
I
deep.
don't think I read that one. I like
Fuck.
that one. That's the best one.
Hard enough. Yeah, that's rough. That's a dagger through the heart.
It's like that's
Dang.
a double dagger.
Yeah.
Um,
Better not be single or you're fucking dead. I don't know. That's rough.
Fall in love with terror this weekend.
Down, thumbs down.
Thumbs
No, thank
down.
you.
Yeah, I don't like when it
Oh,
sounds like a movie release.
I'm
Re-
already in love with terror.
Revenge is sweet.
That's still okay.
Yeah, I
That's a
agree.
thumb sideways.
Okay, I'll give it a thumb sideways too. Someone's going to give them a Valentine's Day to die for.
I think that's workable. It's
Yeah, it's
passable.
workable. It's simple, but it's good.
Yeah,
Um, okay. One, two, three. Are you ready to die?
thumbs down, hard down. Why?
That's that's a tough one. This Valentine's Day is going to be killer.
No, because
It's two on the nose.
I've seen that done like this blank is going to be killer.
Yeah,
Like I feel like I've
everything's going to
seen
be
that a
killer.
lot.
And
Yeah,
that's my joke. Everybody needs to calm down. Um, a Valentine's Day like no other. That's a
down.
thumbs
That's
down.
boring.
Yeah. Be my Valentine or else.
Thumbs up. That's sure. Yeah,
That's good. Revenge is sweeter than candy.
that's still okay.
That's kind of fun. Yeah.
But it's yeah, okay. I mean and that's the thing is that it's like, okay, then if it was always this Jeremy Melton dude from the very beginning, it's just gonna be it's I don't know. I just feel like obviously, yeah, we all knew that like David Boreanaz probably was. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's dumb. That's a dumb tagline.
Here's a dumber one. Meet the devil February 2nd.
Right?
What?
Oh, how's the devil
Yeah.
involved here?
We don't
Okay.
know.
I'm
Don't
always
get
happy,
mad.
always happy to involve him, but
Yeah, but
I don't
definitely
see it
not in
here.
this movie. Not in this movie.
Yeah.
Don't get mad. Get even.
No.
I feel like we've
That's been
that's someone else's line.
yeah.
Um, okay, this is a good way to finish, but not a good one. Roses are red, and so is blood. Candy is sweet, and so is revenge. It doesn't rhyme.
Shut no,
It doesn't
why?
rhyme.
No, you were setting me up to give it the biggest thumbs up because I was like, how have I heard 15 of these taglines already and none of them is a poem like roses are red, violets
And
are
it doesn't
blue.
rhyme. Yeah.
Watch, lock your doors, I'm
Honestly,
coming for
they
you,
could have done
right?
the one that I really liked. I took a note of this because my favorite one was the roses are red, violets are blue. They'll need dental records to identify you. That's
Yeah,
scary as fuck. Like,
that's the best one. Was that
yeah.
Dorothy's?
That was Dorothy's, so it was a complete
Yeah.
lie. Um,
No. Yeah.
but yeah, those are 16 taglines. New no one could beat 16. That's got to be the highest.
I feel like we said that when it was like 14 with Scream. But
That's
um
true.
I am happy to give my boo score first and just to get it out of the way.
Oh, I'm so scared. Okay, go ahead.
I I guess yeah, I think I this movie is so confusing to me and everybody's
Obviously.
motives yeah are just so I just I'm gonna have to go back and watch this and maybe it'll bump up my boost score. Of course,
No
yeah, you got some
pressure.
industry legends that aren't doing their best. You have pretty, one of the lazier Scream knockoffs, I'm sorry. And even I just felt like it was just, I'm sorry, just not even like this is just dumb fun. Like Urban Legend is dumb fun. And those are some great different deaths, right? Now, of course, it
I
lends
love
itself
Urban
to it.
Legend.
And I don't want to, I'm only comparing to Urban Legend just because you have the same director, but just to see like
Hmm.
how the mighty fall, and just how we are all
Maybe he had a
susceptible.
contract and they were like, we need like another slasher from you. And he's like, fuck, like, okay. Like, and it was just
Yeah.
very uninspired, you know?
Now, that being said, I think the death set pieces they're all generally pretty good. They're
Hmm.
all different enough. So that plus the industry legends plus the short run time, I think will all
Oh,
give
was
it a
that short?
maybe it wasn't. Yeah.
It's like
So
an hour and 40, I think.
It's longer than it should be.
Yeah,
That movie has no business being longer than 80 minutes.
I absolutely
Um,
agree.
so I will give it the ILs and the deaths get it a full boo.
Okay.
Um, for my final score for a boo and a half.
Wow. Is that your lowest?
It's my lowest. This is hard to
Dang.
watch. And I don't
Harsh.
think, and even my
Harsh.
lowest one before this, which I'm pretty sure I think was Krampus, which I gave a two, I still said,
We
no, a
also
two
gave,
is a,
apparently we both gave Idle Hands a 2 as well.
did I? Okay. And but
Hmm.
then I think I even said, but it's still a good movie. Two boos can still be a good movie, but ooh, this one I think is
Wow.
my first, I,
Wow.
I'm good.
I
This movie fucking
am
sucks.
shocked.
And it's hard to watch. I can't even hate watch it. And of
Wow.
course I got so confused because I got so checked out by the end, I guess. So sorry to talk all that shit, but
No, it's
I'm a hater
okay.
on this movie.
There will be plenty of movies where I feel that way about things you like, and there already have been, in fact.
Yeah,
Okay. I think this movie is dumb fun. So like for me, like Urban Legend is just actual fun, and then this is like dumb fun to me. Maybe it's because I love the cast so much. I just enjoy watching them.
definitely a lot of
Um
goodwill. Yeah,
yeah, I feel like the actors wanted it to be great and like everyone else just their heart wasn't in it. Like it doesn't feel like a movie where like everybody was on board. So that's what I think it suffers from because you don't get that same vibe of, you know, an urban legend or even like any post-Scream slashers. But I had a great time watching this. I was like just laughing out loud um the whole time I was watching it, and I love the absurdity of the men in this movie. I think they're all such a good representation of like people that I've met before. The women aren't the most lovable, but I do enjoy Paige quite a bit. I'm going to give it a 2.5.
that is actually lower than I thought you were gonna give it.
I was going to give it a 3, but then as we started talking about the acting and the chemistry between Marley Shelton and David Boreanaz, that really it affects it because if they were acting well and the movie was exactly how it is or like they had any on-screen chemistry,
It would have
that
helped a
would make
lot.
me way more invested. And the funnier part too is like watching the interviews, they all talk about it so fondly. Like they have like recent interviews and they're like, "Oh, it was so fun. We were all so close on set." Marley Shelton apparently and David Boreanaz are still friends to this day. Like they're like he hangs out with her husband. Like and I'm like, none of that showed like that you two even like each other. Like I would have thought that they were like enemies,
There was more
honestly.
chemistry between Dorothy and Campbell than there
Mm-hmm.
was between
Mm-hmm.
Marley
And
Shelton and David Boreanaz.
and that
So
motherfucker couldn't get it up. So
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, there you have it.
gosh,
So
I think this is our
all
first
right.
one that I think, well, no, never mind. We've skewed sub two and a half on other, oh yeah, 'cause we just talking about Idle Hands. Maybe I need to go
Mm-hmm.
back and revisit Idle Hands. I feel like that's low.
2 feels low, but I think it's because I
It
think
was a
I
lot of
remembered it like I was hanging on nostalgia for me. And
yeah,
Devon Sawa gave it a full boo. Um,
100%.
as he always does, because he's incredible.
I am the
And
world's
we
biggest Seth Green hater, so that's probably why I dropped.
okay, this has nothing to do with this movie, but I need to say it on here so that someone can correct me if this is not true. I
Sure.
read on the internet. So if for those of you who have not listened to our Idle Hands episode, you should. And you may not have heard that Devon Sawa, who we're, you know, in love with, played Stan in Eminem's music video for Stan. The plot thickens, Kyle. The plot thickens.
With that hand, also from
Yes,
Idle Hands.
yeah, with his hand writing the letters. Okay, so I read on the World Wide Web that you know how the young kids say that they stan something? That the
Uh-huh.
origins of that are Eminem's song Stan. That can't be true because if it is, I'm going to start saying it.
I'm giving you a look right now of how did I know that and you did not know that?
You knew that and I didn't
Yeah.
know? What? I
If you
never knew. I never
yeah,
knew.
if
I
you stand something, you are very obsessive over it.
never knew. Never knew. So now I'm going to start saying that because I didn't understand what the origins of it were. So I was like, this is some dumb shit that people are just saying for no reason. I feel like a fool and I'm sorry to anyone that I ever made fun of for saying
Well, I was completely fooled by Valentine, so I feel like we're
that.
both just being very open and vulnerable to each other right now,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you sharing that with me. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay, you didn't know. We can
Is
forgive
it?
ourselves here. Um, that's that's all I got. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Hell yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for sticking around. Three, two, one, ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on Valentine. If this episode helped you feel a little less lonely, you should give us a follow on Instagram at 321ghostpod and see what we're up to daily. Find us wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe, and leave us a killer review. We'd appreciate the love. You can shoot an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share your thoughts, comments, questions, or send Kyle a threatening yet clever Valentine's Day poem. Next week, we're talking sex curses with It Follows. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you took detailed notes on how to make maggot chocolates. We'll be awaiting their arrival. Happy Valentine's Day. 3, 2, 1, ghost.